The global currency reset is already here, and it's about to change everything. Imagine waking up in 2026 to find your cash worth less while everyone around you seems to be getting richer. How does that happen? Why does it always happen this way? You've heard it before, the system's rigged, but now you'll learn exactly how it's rigged and how you can flip the script. What happens next could mean the difference between losing everything and coming out ahead. But here's the part nobody's talking about. It's not just about stocks, bonds, or gold. It's about positioning yourself to own real assets while everyone else scrambles for cash. So why is 2026 different? Let's break it down. So what's really going on here? This isn't just a blip on the radar. We're talking about the biggest wealth transfer in modern history, and it's already in motion. The U.S. is sitting on a $37 trillion debt, and there's no way out. Not through taxes, not through cuts, not through economic growth. History tells us what happens next. Devaluation of the currency, runaway inflation, and a massive shift of wealth from those holding cash to those holding assets. So the question is, what are you doing to make sure you're on the winning side of this transfer? Most people are still stuck in the old playbook, thinking they can just pick the right stock or time the market. But that world, it's gone. The rules have changed. Now let's dive into exactly how this game is really being played and why your next move could determine your financial future. Here's the thing most people aren't telling you. America's debt is a ticking time bomb, and inflation is the detonator. The government has already stopped pretending it can fix this mess through responsible measures. Instead, they're playing the inflation game, lowering interest rates, despite inflation still being high. And they're openly using crypto to fund their debt. This isn't theory anymore. It's happening right now. Why does this matter? Well, here's the hard truth. If you don't act now, your cash is going to keep losing value, while assets like real estate and stocks continue to rise. But notice what's missing from this picture. No one's really talking about how the system is set up to keep you on the losing side. This isn't just about inflation anymore. This is about how wealth is transferring, and it's happening at a pace you can't afford to ignore. The situation is escalating, and here's why it matters for you. What we're seeing now is exactly what happens when empires start to crumble. Think about it. Rome debased its currency, Britain inflated away its war debts, and now America is following the same path. The government's plan isn't to pay back its $37 trillion debt, it's to make it worthless through inflation. What does this mean for you? While you're holding cash, inflation is quietly eroding its value. The prices of everything are going up except your paycheck. But here's where the real problem lies. This process is becoming normalized. We're getting used to seeing prices rise, but what's happening behind the scenes is far more dangerous. Inflation isn't just a byproduct, it's the tool used to transfer wealth from everyday people to those who own real assets. If you're not positioned correctly, you're going to be left behind. Here's where it gets even more unsettling. You know how people talk about safe investments? Well, in this new world, that's not really a thing anymore. Just look at the Fed. They're cutting interest rates to boost the economy. But in reality, this move is making things worse for anyone holding cash. It's pushing money into assets like stocks and real estate, which are skyrocketing. At the same time, those who thought bonds were safe, they're taking a huge hit because they're locked into low fixed rates while inflation rages. Now consider this. The government is actively encouraging this by using stablecoins to buy up U.S. debt. The crypto world, it's not fighting the system anymore. It's becoming part of it. And here's the kicker. It's designed to work in favor of the rich. The game is rigged, and if you're playing by the old rules, you're going to lose. Here's the reality check. Things are happening fast. In just the last few months, we've seen the government pull out all the stops to prop up the economy, cutting interest rates while inflation still burns hot. Meanwhile, inflation is quietly eroding your savings, while stocks and real estate prices keep climbing. Just last week, we saw another alarming move. The U.S. Commerce Secretary openly attacking the Federal Reserve, demanding even more drastic cuts to interest rates. Think about that. A government official calling for lower rates, despite the risks of further inflation. On top of that, we're seeing mass shifts in how companies are financing themselves, with cheaper debt leading to higher profits. And while all of this is happening, you have to ask what happens if this continues? How long can the system keep inflating the bubble before it bursts? Now let's talk about how this all affects you, the everyday person. This isn't just some abstract financial crisis. It's something that's already changing lives. When inflation eats away at your paycheck, you're feeling it every time you go to the store, every time you fill up your gas tank, and every time you pay rent. It's not just about numbers on a screen, it's your reality. Inflation hits the people who can't afford to protect themselves with assets. If you're working hard and saving, but your money is losing value, you're already falling behind. And you're not alone. You might be getting a 5% raise, but with inflation running at 7% or more, it's like you're running on a treadmill, working harder, but not moving forward. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments. You're not the only one going through this, but here's the real kicker. This is only the beginning. The system is designed for asset owners to come out on top, while the working class gets squeezed. Let's step back for a second and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just bad luck. It's the result of a system built to funnel wealth upwards. The rich are able to ride out the storm because they own the assets that benefit from inflation. But the rest of us, we're left holding the bag. How does this happen? It's all about leverage. The wealthy have access to credit, the ability to buy assets, and the infrastructure to protect their wealth. Meanwhile, the system is set up to ensure that inflation doesn't touch the rich. They benefit from rising asset prices while the average person's cash loses value. But there's something deeper at play here. The government isn't just managing the economy, it's actively shaping it to protect the elite. As much as we might complain about how unfair it is, understanding the mechanics of this system gives you a crucial edge. If you know how it works, you can play by the new rules, rules that most people still don't see coming. So, what's next? Well, we're looking at two possible futures here. On one hand, the system could continue on its current path. Inflation keeps rising, asset prices keep climbing, and the wealth gap widens even further. The rich get richer, the middle class gets squeezed, and those holding cash watch their wealth evaporate. On the other hand, we could see a shift where more people start realizing the game is rigged and begin positioning themselves accordingly. But here's the thing, the momentum is already there. The Fed is cutting rates. The government is printing more money. Every month you wait is a month you lose. Every week your money sits in cash is a week of devaluation. The trajectory is clear. The next move is already unfolding. The only question is, will you be on the right side of it? Here's the bottom line. The rules have changed, and it's up to you to adjust or risk being left behind. In a world where inflation erodes cash and assets inflate, the only way to protect yourself, and even thrive, is to own real assets. If you're still holding on to cash or waiting for the perfect moment to invest, you're already losing. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a financial reality. The people in power know how this works. They're already positioned to profit. And the question is, will you let this wealth transfer pass you by, or will you use it to build your own future? If you want to stay ahead of this game and keep your wealth intact, hit that follow button. This is just the beginning. There's much more to uncover, and the next chapter is already in motion. Stay tuned.